I started at Usole because of the following reasons. 1. Women didn't know anything about clubs. And 2. Even if women were cultivating, they did not benefit from the farm produce. All was for the man.
There are many good benefits for women in these club meetings because women have learnt a lot.
I was born in 1960. I was brought up in Kitwe. I started school at Machona Primary, where I did grade 7. I went to Mindolo Secondary, where I attended in the first year, and then I had some problems. I got married in 1978 and had a child with my husband in 1985.
I work with the Department of Agriculture right here in Mombwa.
When I came to Malaya village, I saw a big difference between a man and a woman. Especially men of this village don't want a woman to do things ahead of them. For example, in my home village, there is no suspicion when you shake hands with someone of the opposite sex. But here, you can't give someone's wife a lift on a bicycle, nor shaking hands. This attitude had blocked development because for the women to work together, it was difficult to convince them that handshaking doesn't mean committing adultery. Men also needed to understand that when the wife says, "Let's go and cultivate," does not mean losing power.
The problems we have passed through with my wife are too numerous. Despite all that, we have decided to continue working with the committed members of the community.
I started at Usole because of the following reasons. 1. Women didn't know anything about clubs. And 2. Even if women were cultivating, they did not benefit from the farm produce. All was for the man. It was painful to me because it's the woman who does the cultivating but does not benefit at all. Maybe a women's club would help. Women and girls had to stay at home, and I thought if we started a club, women could be educated. I thought the women needed the education so that they can live a better life. When we cultivate for the home, we should have a separate section so that when the child has no jersey, we can knit. We should even improve on cooking at our homes. Based on all this, I thought of starting a women's group.
Women were not allowed by their husbands to join us and were ignorant. So we thought, let us have men in the club as advisors so they can help men release their wives.
It was difficult starting this women's club. Here, women only knew working in the fields and cooking for their children at home. They did not know that they could do other things. When we started the women's group, there were only 20 people registered. What I really wanted is that as women, we should change our lifestyle and develop. And I started to think of ways in which this problem could be dealt with. I found the solution in involving my husband, because as an agriculture officer, he serves both men and women. I asked my husband to help me bring the men together, engage them in a discussion so that they can allow their wives to come and join the club. So I thought, if those men could be given 4 bags of fertilizer and 5 bags of maize seed for one season, when we give them and they harvest, they can benefit, which means they can know the goodness of joining a club.
The reason I joined was because I saw what Atsole was doing. I was very impressed to see women knitting and cooking food. When I joined the club, the community members, especially my fellow men, they thought I was wasting my time by joining Atusole. Then I thought, they are the ones that stayed wasting my time because I had already seen the good in Atusole.
When she told me the problem, I got concerned. She mentioned some real problems about our welfare in the village. She talked about the school, the clinic, and the general standards in the families. I acknowledge the existence of these problems. They thought whatever we were trying to do will not amount to anything.
When we began the school issue, the painful part was that children were walking distances of about 8 kilometers. The distance the children walked was too much, especially for the girl child. For a distance of 8 kilometers, a small child couldn't manage to start school at 7 years. The girls stopped school in grade 4 and the boys could end up in grade 6 because they said they were tired and didn't realize the importance of school.
So grade 4. Grade 6
Then I asked the women, do you know that we can build a school? The women said we can't manage to build a school because we are women. But I went on to convince and organize the women. So the women agreed and we started collecting the sand and baked the bricks ourselves. Then Mr. Katongo, who is an agriculture officer, referred us to the Ministry of Education to report that we had built a school. We went to the ministry and they gave us a task of providing transport for the teacher. Then we were informed that there is a micro project which assists clubs like ours. Thus we applied to a micro project who came to our aid. But we realized we can't manage as Atusole. We needed to involve everyone in the community. Still, some refused. But those who came, we worked together and built a 1x2 classroom block and 2 staff houses with solar panel using 90 million grant. Even teachers are coming to teach at our school from towns in search of employment. This time when we say let's work together, nobody would refuse because they have seen that money from a small group has helped to build a school. Nobody contributed money. What they only contributed was their labor. This has brought happiness and we are optimistic that 5 years from now, we will have an MP and a councillor from this school, Kayanga.
From now to Keshibokwati, MP tukamufunya muno mwine Mkayanga.
When we had finished the school and the children were comfortable, we found a problem in the club. When we made money, our friends could not understand the transactions. We had only a few who could understand those transactions. which made it difficult for transparency. If we continued just like that, it meant that we were not helping it out. Whatever we were earning, they couldn't save. That's when we asked the community development officer for adult literacy classes. We sent 2 instructors to Mumbwa for 2 weeks to learn about adult education. When they came back, we began with 19 members over to Sole. 13 of them did very well and obtained certificates. The problem of water was another issue in Malaya. Some people were walking about 2 kilometers, while other half a kilometer to go and search for water. They would even wake up at 4 a.m. We had only one well in this place, which was not covered. The problem of water was a very big problem. Even if we said add chlorine, not many could afford it. We thought we needed to respond to the problem of water urgently. To avoid people's sufferings, having diarrhea and other water-related diseases. We sank the borehole at the school as a neutral place for both school children and other community members. The problem was still there because one borehole was not enough for the entire population. We had some more funds and decided to put up another borehole because as at Usole, we serve the community and we have no river here.
So nakaiti shito ashire chukira kwa kanda na makandi. Nakotwala ndo kwati awe ifu atusole twando kwati kubombera abantu.
What prompted us to send the birth attendants and the community health worker is that from Kayanga to Kapyanga Clinic is 17 kilometers.
Kapyanga ni 17 kilometers.
We sent Judith Kupumpa and Mrs. Monde as traditional birth attendants, Florence Mwangala and Henry Kasumbalesa as community health workers. People now no longer die because they can access healthcare facilities locally. That time, about 70% of the children were underweight. But this time, only 5% to 10% are underweight. This has made women not go as far as 17 kilometers, but only wait for the day of the antenatal clinic at Atusole. They are able to follow Atusole's calendar of under 5 and antenatal clinics. So that's an achievement. Such problems have come to an end, though we still have to refer serious sicknesses and illnesses elsewhere.
The benefits I've seen in what Atusole has done are good things, such that many people are happy. There are many good benefits for women in these club meetings because women have learnt a lot. They have learnt cooking, even in the things they grow, and they can bake and be able to add value to every crop they grow. Thereafter, they sell to find money from time to time. They sew for themselves and are able to turn old dresses into dresses for the small girls. In this work my wife Annie and I have done, I take pride.